Welcome back, everybody, to our summer project, the database series, week 8. Okay, how's everybody doing? I hope that everybody's doing fine, and you probably have fun time playing around with GitHubs because that is the topic that we were talking about last week, right? Okay, so let's actually get into week 8. First of all, let's just recap exactly what we did last week, week 7. We are talking about GitHub, okay? What is a GitHub, right? Even though it's not directly related to database, it is something that people, a community of all the developer worldwide using GitHub. It's a place, it's just like, it's just like you know GitHub is kind of like similar to Google Drive, Dropbox, some sort of like cloud-based platform, online storage platform. So instead of like people put documents like Word document, PowerPoint, Excel, up in the clouds. GitHub is specifically designed for a developer. The thing that they store, they actually put it up there. It's a core file. It's a SQL database, it's programming languages. Okay, all this core file. But if you can put core file in there, you can put anything in there. You can put text file, document, pictures, and all this stuff. Okay, and the reasons, like the software developer and all these people, they prefer using GitHub because it's actually have a very good, it actually allows people to work on the same projects, right? At the same time, people that live in different continents around the world, speaking different languages. You probably from Europe, from South Africa, from Asia, Korea, China, Japan, Vietnam, and people can actually just work on. They contribute to the code, worldwide communities. Okay, so it's kind of like promoting collaboration. It's kind of like, and then one of the features that GitHub provide is as a virtual version control system. It's a VC system. It's a very good version control system. All the changes being made by different user, right? And then when all those changes being made to the file, to the original file, somehow merge them back, and they actually keep a version for each of those changes. So think of it like sort of like super save button. They be able to have a version, you know, previously that's been saved, and in case let's say that the latest version of the software that they roll out is not very stable, so they want to sort of like roll back to the last stable version of it. They be able to do it. It's kind of like a super undo button, right? You be able to sort of revert back to any previous version that has been saved successfully in the past. Okay, it's kind of like on your laptop and your computer, you have like computer restore point. Right? It's, it works like that, right? It's computer restore point. Yeah, is it a good practice for you to before install any application, any apps? You're not sure, how the apps is behaving, interacting. It might cause your computer to acting up in a weird way. So you want to create it, manually create it a restore point in case if thing doesn't go well. You can always go back into the previous state of your laptop. Okay, it's kind of like that. Think of it like a super undo button, a super save button that keep track of all the version that has been saved in the past, and you can revert back to it. And then let's say that if GitHub allow you a place for you to put your code out there to share, to collaborate with other people, you can actually use it to, for a backup. It's a great alternative to back it up your file, all of this stuff. In case, let's say your laptop, your computer crash, and you lose all your personal file or your data. You always have the copies of your file, anything that is important, store somewhere on the clouds, right? Let Google Drive, let Dropbox take care of maintaining your data. Make sure you do not lose that. Okay. You know, you know, computer crashes, laptop crashes, very often. And sometimes, we are unable to recover those data, personal file. Okay, so always have a good backup, probably, somewhere on the clouds, right? So that's sort of like what we did last week. This week, we actually going to cover something like a virtual machine. Remember that last week I present you a very simple scenario to show you, to demonstrate how GitHub works, right? I presented simple scenario where we have three developers, right? And we try to sort of like copy, download, and clone the original master file of the clouds, and then you make some changes individually, on each of these three different developers, and you're gonna see how. And when you push those changes back, when you uploaded those changes back, all these changes being made by different developers are somehow synchronously merges back into the original file. So we show you that we demonstrate that using a very simple scenario of three using a three different platform. One is a Git desktop version. The other two basically is the Linux operating system. And the reason that I be able to do that, because I have a virtual machine, right? Virtual machine, what is a virtual machine, right? Virtual machine is kind of like, it's a software based simulation of a physical computer. It's kind of like, it acts like a real machine. It's another machine, another laptop, right? It's kind of like simulated a virtual training. It's like a flight simulator. You know how people train pilot, flight in the aircraft. Part of their training is actually is a flight simulator. It just looks like a real aircraft. You get into that flight simulators, and then they probably just go up or down, you turn over upside down and all this stuff, right? And simulated training is a very, very effective method, okay? If you be able to do well, chances are you're going to do well in real life. It's like indoor cardio, indoor trainings. When you train people to run, indoor in the gym on the stationary machine like a treadmill or a stairmaster, to sort of like help develop and build their physical endurance. Chances are when you put them out there, on the street, they can run. It's a very effective, just as effective training tool. The same way, people learn how to swim, before you can actually swim in open water in the ocean. Let's just swim, probably, in the swimming pool, indoor swimming pool, right? Where the, water temperature is controlled, So it's kind of like a very effective training tool. That's why, the virtual machine was born out of that, scenario. It's kind of like give you another, just like another physical computer without needing, like a separate machine, okay? And it can be installed on your laptop, on your machine, right? And when you have the virtual machine, you don't have, you can actually have as many virtual machines as you wanted. And, different machines, different VM machine of, different operating system. One is Windows-based, the other one might be Mac OS, the other one might be Linux system. You have so many Linux-based operating system. You can actually have so many instances of it, right? Or the Solaris, and, right? I'm not sure how do you pronounce this one, Solaris, right? So a developer, a software engineer, they love to sort of like test, certain feature of the software, certain feature in the application to see how it perform, how it behave across multiple different operating system, OS system. How is it behave, in Windows, how does it behave on the Linux system? Because the end user, the user, regular user, they might have the device, they might have their laptop running different system, But in order for them to sort of like access the app, you want to make your apps, your application available as many users as you can, right? So that's why, you know, people make use of virtual machine in order for you to test to see how it perform across different platforms. Another way for you to, another reason, good reason that people use a virtual machine is like, let's say that you want to test, you want to create it, a very small internal computer network, intranet, not internet, but intranet, right? An internal computer network of like 3 or 4 computers, and you want to test that, right? Well, nowadays you'll be able to do that on your laptop, on your computer, right? You basically just install 3 different computer, but this is virtual machine, it's a VM machine, you know? And then people can actually test it out a different computer, various configuration setup on your laptop and to see exactly how it performs, okay? So that's the purpose and the good use of a VM, you know, a virtual machine, right? What is a virtual box? Actually, this is a virtual machine here, right? What is a virtual box? In order you, a virtual box is sort of like a tool for you to host all the virtual machine. You want to install, you want to have a VM machine installed on your computer, but before you can actually have your VM machine installed, you need to sort of like have a place that hosts all the VM machine, right? Or the VM or the virtual machine, and which is a tool that you can host all the virtual machine on your computer is a virtual box. It's kind of like a designated area, a designated box container to contain all your virtual machine of a different operating system. Think of it like it's sort of like a room, computer lab room, right? You can actually have like 3, 4 machines of a different system, and then you know, in order for you to have the VM installed, you must have a virtual box. That's all it is. Okay, so this is the virtual machine, and this is a virtual box. Sorry, I probably just get ahead of myself by 1 slide. Okay, that's it. You know, that's going to be today's presentation for this week. And can you believe it? You know, we've been doing this one for 8 weeks already. I'm thinking about maybe, you know, another week that I'm going to go over all the sort of like basic Linux command and maybe show you how to sort of like explain a little bit about the Linux command and how to write a very short program like hello world, you know, a very or some kind of like program that do some basic math calculation and run execute that file, you know, next week. Okay, so let me show you. That's going to be presentation of the virtual machine and the virtual box. Remember, virtual machine is actually being hosted by a virtual box. So you need to have virtual box installed. So this is how you install your virtual box, okay? Virtual box, you can actually have a virtual box or VM. You know, VM is VMware, I believe is, you know, but this is, I heard it say VMware is actually, I heard they say that VMware is probably designed specifically for enterprise, so they perform significantly faster, you know. But you know, for now, for our purposes, just sort of like learning stuff, I think VirtualBox is going to do it because this is all open source, which means it's free, right? So you can actually go to a VirtualBox is developed by Oracle. Okay, so you download the VirtualBox, okay, and once you get your VirtualBox download, you just have to choose the right operating system that your machine is running on. You know, just go through all this stuff. Make sure that you read carefully and then select all the option that you want. Otherwise, you know, default option work just as good. Okay. And then once you get your VirtualBox installed, this is going to be I have both. I have a VirtualBox, Oracle VirtualBox, and I also have a VMware, but I use more of VirtualBox. Okay. Once you actually have this one right here, you can actually install as many instances of virtual machine. Okay. And then I have two virtual machine. I have one instance of Ubuntu and the other one is Kali Linux. Okay. These are the Linux-based operating system. Okay. Now you have to get your virtual machine. Okay. Now that we already get the VirtualBox, the host the virtual machine, you have to sort of like get the instance of the virtual machine. And let's say you want to go to Kali Linux, download, go over here. This is the website kali.org. Okay, just follow the links and make sure that you read carefully and try to download. Go through all this. Okay, virtual machine. Go through all that, and then choose your maybe VirtualBox. I don't know. Yep. They actually have a different version of it, so you can actually choose which one that is most compatible with your own. Okay. Once you have that, you can basically just sort of like once you download the virtual machine, is probably give you the image file, the ISO. You can actually just sort of like create it, the VM, by going to this one. Click new, right? And then you just choose your the folder where the location where your image file of the virtual machine. Okay, like this, right? It's kind of like that. Okay, that's how you install a virtual machine on the VirtualBox. Okay, let's see. I'm going to show you how do I. And once you get it installed, you're going to have just like this one, and then this is how you turn it on. You just go and click on start. That's how you power up your laptop. Okay, so when you download the virtual machine, they're going to give you the ISO, the image file. In some cases, they might give you a folder. You just have to sort of like go through it. Click new to set it up. I just started up. I power up my one of my virtual machine. It's gonna take seconds to sort of like turn up your laptop. This is Linux based, right? Okay. The default username and password is Kali Kali. So I just accept the use. And the shortcut to bring up your terminals, I think, is Control R and T. Yep. Here it basically is a terminals, and all the Linux operating system, it basically a command line. You basically just interact with the operating system using the command that you basically type it up directly onto the terminal. Let's say you want to list all the folders, and if you want to go inside any of these folders, you can actually go say, cd. Let's say what it was, cd gig practice, right? This is what we downloaded. So we cloned it last week from the gig, repository, right? And you want to see of all the file, in this folder, you see ls, okay? If you want to see in the long format, you say ls dash a. Basically, it's an option for you to list all the file in details, right? Yep. Okay. And you want to go back, you can just cd dot dot to go back to the parents directory. Okay. That's how you do it. And remember, this one, just like another laptop, you'll be able to browse the internet too. Yeah. No. All right. Yeah. All right. Okay. Oh, I recognize him. He's one of my favorite senator from New Jersey. I think his name is, what is it? I forgot his name. He's a New Jersey senator. Cory Booker. That's what his name is. Okay, Cory Booker. I remember Bernie Sanders, Cory Booker, Donald Trump. They actually have all this sort of life going on. It's kind of fun. Okay, anyway, so that is actually how you do it, okay? You can actually pin to make sure that you actually have a good connection with, the internet. Ping that, you get a good reply. Okay, this is actually very good for you to test it out internal computer network to make sure that you get connection. You'll be able to connect to the internet. You'll be able to do that. That's it. Sudo, let's say, app update, right? And why it's actually updating. I can actually just turn on my other VM machine, Ubuntu, which is another, with it another types of a virtual machine, but it's still a Linux-based system. Okay, so I can actually just start it, power up, this machine too, right? That's how you start it up and power up, the machine. Just click on the start button. When I run that command, sudo is kind of like a command for super user. App upgrade, it is the same thing as a window update, okay? When you have the window update, right? The system window updates is the same thing, okay? It's over here like window update, right? It's the same thing. But here it's actually on the Windows. The other one is actually a command line for the Linux system. Same thing, okay? Now is my Ubuntu. Okay, so basically so far we probably have, let's try to go in here. Okay. Same thing, right? You're gonna ping. Yep, it's good, right? It's all good, right? That's how you open up the internet, Mozilla Firefox. Good. right? That's it. That's going to be the end of our presentation for today. I hope that you'll be able to sort of like get all these tools, very effective, common tool that all the developers and software engineering they use. It's sort of like provide you a good environment for testing, different things. See how that thing perform across a different OS system, whether it's a Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and Solaris, right? Is that how you pronounce that operating system? Or even a brand new, operating system. Okay. And remember, in order for you to know, let's say, if you want to know, let's say that if you want to see all available command available that you can use, in the Linux system, you just say git help, right? They're actually going to give you all this command, right? Or you just say that man, for specific command, you say man gig, right? Okay, so first of all, you try to list of all the Linux command available, and if you're interested in any of those commands, you can actually just go into those commands and take a look at all the options available, right? That's how it's kind of like a menu for you to see all that. Because you know what, it's impossible for everybody to know all the command available for the Linux system. You only need to use the one that you need it, okay? So that's why when you take a look at it, look at it online to see what you want to do, and then see which one closest to, which command closest to the things that you want to perform, and then look it up in the manual. Read it more to see if that's exactly what you want to do, okay? Yep, say help. Oh, command, menu, and help. Oh. Okay? They give you sort of like all the command and all the option. Right? So let's see, what else do we do? Yep. This one is all the command. This one is basically all the command available for the Geek engine. Okay? That's it. If you want to get more practice with the virtual machine, read some documentation available in Oracle website. Put all this stuff here. Right? Okay, that's going to be a very good online resources for you to find all the documentation, all the reference, all the manual about the virtual machine. Okay, so just to, in short, let's recap what we did today. We basically just sort of show you, we tell you exactly what is a virtual machine, a VM, and what is a virtual box. Okay, virtual machine is kind of like a simulation of a physical computer, and a virtual box is what you needed to host the virtual machine. Okay, and then I show you how to install the virtual box and the virtual machine. Okay, and then you can go into your virtual machine. Like here, I probably have two computers running, Okay, and then if you need any help, just go ahead and read more with the reference and the menu. That's it for today, for this week. So I'm looking forward to next week, week number 9. Hopefully, I'll be able to probably go over some basic Linux command and then explain exactly what those are and be able to write a very short program that calculates some kind of like math calculation, right? You know, and then show you how to execute and run those files. And remember, you know, your computer, your laptop, even a standard one. I get mine from Best Buy refurbished one, you know, up in box on sale. And I remember reading it, and they say that, you know, nowadays your laptop is actually have the capacity of a supercomputer 20 years ago, 10 years ago. It's like computer mainframe, right? I believe that. You know, you'll be able to do what, you know, a groups of people can do 20 years ago with a supercomputer, you know, with a very, very, you know, a standard, you know, average laptop. I get mine for like $400, you know. So thank you so much for listening, watching our presentation, and I'm looking forward to see you next week. Okay.